Hello, everybody. Welcome to one more episode of MGR Unplugged. Today, we're recording this on a Thursday. What day is today? Thursday, the 18th of July. Actually, today is the 50th anniversary of the landing on the moon, or the filming of the landing on the moon, depending on who you believe. Actually, it's pretty funny, actually. I didn't know it was today, but yeah, it's today. Do you remember where you were 50 years ago, David?
Yeah.
You were a thought.
I was a thought.
You were not even a thought.
I was not in existence yet, so.
I know. You were. You missed the filming of landing on the moon.
Yes.
It was Oscar performance by Neil Armstrong.
And it was filmed by Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, yeah? That was the 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah, that's what everyone says, right? They say that he was the one. The government hired him to film it.
I don't know that much. I'm not much into conspiracies. I've seen some of them. I can't neither deny nor confirm that happened.
Well, I watched the Neil Armstrong movie with Ryan Gosling.
Oh, did you? Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
It was good. First Man. It was a good movie. I really liked it. So.
Yeah.
No,
So
maybe
you do believe that we actually did land?
Maybe it was all a lie. I don't know, but it seemed pretty
You
convincing.
think the flag's still there?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know what's gonna move it.
I don't know. Maybe a moonstorm or don't they have monsoons there and haboobs and stuff like they do here? Sandstorms and things like that.
On Mars, not on the moon.
No, it doesn't rain on the moon.
There's no
atmosphere.
There's no atmosphere.
Okay, so all right. It must be raining very slow too, because with the gravity, the drops are kind of like you can dodge it. They're so slow.
Okay.
All
let's
right.
move on to the next subject, because I think you're making yourself sound not very educated on
I am very educated.
the solar system.
It's easier to play dumb when you're very smart.
Okay.
All right, here we go. So actually, I was in Spain the last couple of weeks, and that's why we didn't have a podcast last week or the last couple of weeks, because I was out, and it was an interesting trip. It was a mix of business and pleasure. I don't know which one took precedent. But it's always interesting when you go there. I mean, we did a lot of work with one of our clients over there with e-commerce store, and we were doing some videos and promotions and things like that, and photo shoots and all that. But man, every time I go there, it's incredible. I walk so much. I think I walked about 20 miles or so in 2-3 days that I was there. It's just it was hot as hell. I mean, we were in Arizona, but it was hot and humid everywhere there. They had this heat wave in Europe, and I was kind of like thinking, shoot, I don't know if it's better than Phoenix, but it was fun. I mean, I did a lot of stuff over there. I actually had a little day to go to the beach in Valencia, and it was very nice. I had to chance to be in the ocean and swimming and all that stuff. And but anyways, we're back here in Phoenix, and we have a few things going on. In fact, you, David, you just came back. I kind of fished you out of your interview that you had this morning with your own podcast guest this morning. Who is that person?
His name is Joshua Browder, or Browder, sorry. And he's the founder of Do Not Pay, which is it's a really cool app. It's basically
That's a nice name too.
Yeah, well,
it's probably gonna get a lot of downloads.
The name works well because it's basically an AI assistant app that gets you. It kind of takes care of all the annoying stuff in your life. So if you want to, if you have like parking tickets or speeding tickets, stuff like that, you just...
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, you just take a picture of it, and they'll automatically they'll follow the paperwork with the local state government, whoever gave it to you.
Do they go to driving school for you too?
Yeah. But so they'll do that. They'll also, like, if you need to talk to customer service for something with some company, but you don't want to do it, the AI will do it for you. It'll make insurance claims for you.
What do you mean the AI will do it for you? They have a robot talking? Or?
Yeah, so the app is called Do Not Pay, and you basically talk to this little chatbot app, and you tell it what's going on, what your problem is, and then it will basically, it says, okay, I'll get back to you in 24 hours. And so I tested it, and basically I did it yesterday, and this morning it got back to me and said, okay, here you go. I tested on an insurance claim. And it basically gave me all the paperwork I needed to submit for an insurance claim. It was pretty cool. So anyways, he's the founder of that. He also has an interesting background, which I didn't realize. When I first requested the interview with him, it was just for the company because it's a cool startup. They just raised money from Andreessen Horowitz and Index Ventures and a few others. I don't remember all the investors, but some reputable investors. And the app itself has been featured in the past few weeks in like Wired magazine, and he was on Forbes 30 under 30. So I thought it would be a cool guy to get on.
How old is the guy?
He's only 22.
22 years old.
Yeah, so he actually he got the Thiel Fellowship a year ago. So he started the company
Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel. So he started the company 3 years ago. He was at Stanford studying computer science. And then Thiel Fellowship, for those who don't know, is basically Peter Thiel is very anti-college establishment, and I agree with him on a lot of things. But basically, he goes to really smart people and says, "I'll give you, depending, I think it's like $100,000 or sometimes more, $100,000 or more, drop out of college." Like one example is Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum. He was a Thiel Fellowship person too. He gave him the money and he went and created Ethereum. So it's pretty successful. But anyways, the guy won it last year, and so he started working on Do Not Pay full time. And now he just a few weeks ago, he raised like $4.6 million or something for his company. And so now they're hiring a bunch of people. They're growing a lot. But they were featured in a lot of Wired magazine and lots of bigger publications. And so I just wanted to get him. But the interesting thing about him, more than just your regular, successful or up-and-coming founder, is in doing research about him, his great-grandfather was the president of the U.S. Communist Party back in the McCarthyism days when McCarthy was going after other communists. His great-grandfather was the president. His grandfather was...
Did you ask him about that?
I did, yes. You'll have to listen to the interview. But his grandfather was the head of the math department at Princeton, and then his father is Bill Browder, who is... I didn't know who he was, but in researching him, there was an interview in my research for this interview that I saw with Joshua, and Joshua said that, my father is Vladimir Putin's biggest enemy. And I was like, what? And I literally type into Google, Putin, biggest enemy, and his father is Bill Browder, shows up on all the first links. He's basically a human rights, humanitarian crusader, I guess you could call it. And basically, he has a warrant out for his arrest in Russia for 25 years in prison. And one time he was actually in Madrid.
Don't go to Russia.
He was in Madrid, and some group came and basically kidnapped him and were taking him to Moscow, but he escaped. And anyways, the guy has a fascinating background, and so he has that whole history. And now he's 22 and founding this company. And anyways, very interesting guy, very interesting
history.
So
the app is already available, right? I mean,
I downloaded it. It works.
It's being used. It works, I guess.
Yep.
It gets you out of a lot of bills or whatever to not pay.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep using it for different things as they come up. But I talked to him, and he said his goal is in the long run, he wants to put lawyers out of business. He wants to basically create a robot lawyer that...
We have too many lawyers.
He said, besides basically like a court case or something like that, the majority of legal proceedings is just paperwork. And he said that people shouldn't have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for basic stuff.
Does he have a success rate?
Yeah, I talked to him about that. Anyways, I don't want to give the whole
interview. All right. Yeah, listen to it.
It's very interesting.
I got you. Yeah, when is that coming out, though?
It will be Friday, so tomorrow. I don't know when this podcast goes up, but it will be Friday, July 19th. So it'll probably be already
now
up.
I need to come up with this one first because we're saying you're going to listen to it. And then...
It doesn't matter. It'll already be live when they listen to it.
Okay, well, just putting your pressure on me now to edit this podcast. We haven't even recorded yet. Okay, well, that's good. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. And again, stay tuned. This is the MGR Edge podcast, which is the different one.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah,
so
we'll put a link
that.
on the show notes. So that's the, just in case, is mgredge.com, and you'll find there the latest podcast right at the top of the homepage, and then you can download it on Apple Podcast, on every podcast network. All right, so the next thing I wanted to chat with you about, and actually you shared with me this link yesterday. It was an interesting video from Elon Musk. But it wasn't Tesla. It wasn't the typical thing that we always discuss.
I told you. I joked with you yesterday. I said, for those, I'm sure a lot of people might have seen it because it was going pretty viral on Twitter. Basically, his company Neuralink, which he talked about. I mean, he's been talking about for a couple of years, but he mentioned last year that they're very serious and that they're going to have a new product soon. And they finally unveiled it. And but I made a joke saying, the guy said, I didn't think I was busy enough running SpaceX
Yeah,
and
right.
Tesla and Hyperloop
Dealing
and
with
all these
investors
things.
and the SEC.
So I decided to start another company where we're creating what's called BCIs, brain computer interfaces. So you can control a computer.
I'll tell you,
with
I
your
watched the
brain.
video I think twice. I still don't really know what the heck he's doing there.
So I don't know a ton about it. I watched the video and I read a little about it. So I'm not super expert, but
What can we tell people if they want to look for the video? What kind of keyword terms? It's on YouTube, right?
We'll put it in the show notes for them.
Okay, yeah, but if
Just search Neuralink
Neuralink
or
okay.
Elon Musk.
I know it was a CNET video, but I think it was on YouTube too.
Yeah,
right?
it was on YouTube. It was
Okay.
trending on YouTube yesterday.
Okay, yeah, you can find it there. We'll put it in the show notes, but definitely
It's
you can find it there.
Neuralink, Neura link, Link.
And it's about 14, 15 minutes, and Elon is the
Elon's
first presenter.
yeah, it's like 5 minutes with Elon, and then they get into. So Elon doesn't actually run the company. He's the founder and basically financier, but he doesn't have time to run the company. So they had the president, I think, come up, and then some of the top scientists that were working
right,
there.
medical and
Yeah.
everything else. So what is it that they do?
Well,
if you can explain it to the dumbasses.
basically, in the video, the goal is to create what's called a brain computer interface, BCI. This has existed for probably 10 years now. As far as people trying to do this, like I remember a few years ago, I was doing research for something, and the University of Washington was non-invasively. When you see people with all these like electrodes on their heads, you know what I'm talking
brain,
about. And so they would put all these things, and they were able to kind of control computers and do different things with their brain without any input, just thinking about things. And so this is kind of the next evolution where it's going to be surgically implanted into you. So it's basically a tiny little chip that you put on your head, and then
like we say, tiny. How tiny or how little is it?
it's probably the size of a quarter, maybe.
I think it was like 8 millimeters. They said.
Well, there's the incision, and then there's the thing that it sits on your head.
Right,
So it'll
right.
sit behind your ear, kind of like a hearing aid.
Yeah,
type
it
of
looks
thing.
like a hearing aid. Yeah, or
But
almost like
it's-
one of these wireless headphones.
So that's the outside part, but the inside part, it basically they connect. So how they explained it was when your neurons fire, it's electromagnetic, and so they give off electromagnetic pulses.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they can do is put an electrode in your brain, basically, and that electrode can read
Intercepts, right.
those will intercept exactly those pulses. And so by doing that, they can basically read your brain waves.
with algorithms, they interpret those.
Right, and so it can read things, and basically, so when you think something, it can essentially read your mind.
So
to
the
speak.
electrodes that you're talking about is like a bunch of different filaments or little
Yeah, so
like
they're
herb type.
they're about the whole thing. That the electrode is about. I think they're about a fifth the size of a hair. Okay, so they're very small.
The diameter or the thickness.
Yeah, the diameter of a hair. So they're very, very small. And he said that, I think he said it's a 2 millimeter incision in your head. So it's very, very, very small.
Right.
And basically, they cut a hole in your head, put the electrodes in your brain. Now, he said, I don't know exactly how it works. He said it's read and write. Basically, it's not just that it can read your brain, and so he said that it'll work with the first applications of this is going to be for disabled people who don't have motor function, so that they can use computers and phones
Right.
with just their brain. But eventually, it'll be for everybody. And so he said that basically, instead of having to type into a keyboard or anything, you can just think things. I get that part because the electrodes are reading you. He said it's read and write, which means you can get input from the device into your brain. I don't know how it works.
Reverse, right.
Like it would generate thoughts in your brain without you seeing them. I don't know how that works. So that was a little confusing to me. I wasn't sure about how exactly that works. But basically, they stick an electrode in your brain. It reads the electrical impulses and will take input from you into a device. And that's kind of right now, like I said, it's for like disabled people. But in the future, it could
they
be
were
for
talking
everybody.
about obviously helping people with disabilities or kind of some kind of handicap, but also
Like really,
pretty
I
much for
think
everybody.
where I could see this being incredibly the major use case is with AR, augmented reality, because one of the problems with AR is to input. It's not like you're typing on a phone. I mean, what most of them do is they read your eyes. They are tracking your eyes to see what you're looking at, but that's limited because you can't do gestures with your eyes. And so what they do is if you want to interact and so, for example, click on something in AR because you're wearing glasses. It has little cameras that have gesture control, so you have to move your hands and stuff. I think the next evolution will be you have AR glasses with a little chip in your head, and then you just think things, and they start popping up on your glasses. So you really have a true computer-connected brain. Now, that is still far away, but that's where I could potentially see this going.
Did he say? I didn't hear this, but I think he said actually that when the first functioning one will be.
Said next year. So right now.
Yeah, but I know Elon Musk says everything is next year, and then
He said that right now it works in mice, basically, but they haven't done it in humans, obviously for safety reasons. So it works in mice, and now they need to find patients, and they want to do human testing.
The thing that is critical, they said that is such an accurate incision where the electrode needs to go to intercept the signal between two neurons that it needs to be made by a robot.
Right. So the other thing they did, besides just creating the electrodes, was they created a brand new, surgical robot.
It's a robot.
Because a human cannot do it. A human does not have the precision at a micrometer level.
Well, brain surgery, which... it's not anything to look forward to.
Right,
but anyways, when you see it, they used to, they still do it. They totally clamp your skull, your head down.
Right. Yeah, and he said
for
that
any
in the
kind of
video
surgery,
too.
they clamp it down because the neurosurgeons need to be so precise that they cannot have any movement. So they actually use almost like a vice. And they clamp your head down so they can make incisions and all that stuff. So, but in this case, it's even
they don't
more
have
accurate.
to. If you've seen brain surgery, they will literally cut off your skull, the top of your skull, and then reattach it.
Shave your head, all that stuff.
Yeah. In this case, he said you don't even have to. You don't even need anesthesia. He said we'll just use a local anesthetic to basically numb the area, and you can be awake or kind of half asleep, whatever. It's not like a super. The incision is 2 millimeters, so it's like. Less than a paper cut incision, So he said you don't even need stitches once you're done. Basically, your skin will just heal up.
The placement of the electrode needs to be so precise.
Right, so that's why they use a robot.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very interesting. We have limited information now. Obviously, Elon, like you said, makes big promises. He delivers on them most of the time, but sometimes it takes longer than he says. We'll see. This is something, like I said, that has been... I've known about people working on this for many years, but this is the first that I've seen that is surgical at a consumer level. You have this in laboratories and stuff in research universities, but not like bringing it to the masses, basically. And that's his goal. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely watch the video. It's not very long. It's about, like I said, 14, 15 minutes, I think. It's like a presentation. I had a couple of issues with the volume. I had to turn it up and down and all the stuff. I don't think the production values of the video were that great. But it's a mix of animation of how the thing works, and then Elon making the initial presentation. And then, like David said, there's other doctors and basically researchers and scientists from his company, or from the company, explaining how everything works. So, interesting stuff. All right, let's switch topics now. We just came off Amazon Prime. It was just last couple of days.
Yes.
For the first time, it was actually 2 days of Amazon Prime. It used to be Prime Day, and now it's Prime Days.
It was like a day and a half last year.
Yeah, last year it was like 36 hours, I think.
They keep extending it. But,
pretty soon we're going to have
it's gonna be Prime
Day
Week.
will be Prime Week, and then Prime Month, and then just Prime every day. Become a primate. Anyways, I was actually looking this morning at numbers, and it looks like, of course, Amazon says that they broke all records. There's two things that happened last year. One of them, obviously, was only 36 hours. We're comparing now 36 hours to 48 hours, which is obviously more.
But I think
time.
most of the buying, I mean, I have to take a look at the numbers. I think most of it happens on the first day. I think it's less on the second
Right.
day.
It's a little bit like a Black Friday thing.
Things go out of stock. Too.
Right. That things kind of end up not being available anymore. But so they had 2 days, and then you remember last year they also had a few glitches with their own Amazon web servers, basically. So the Amazon Prime was kind of not working for a while, and people were complaining. So this year it was totally glitch-free, no issues, nothing. Everything worked perfectly. So according to Amazon, and I'm reading over some numbers, they say that this year's Prime Day surpassed Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined. So that's pretty critical. I mean,
Did it really?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Because last year, I believe it was the 5th highest day for them. So basically, in the retail world, you basically have Black Friday weekend, Black Friday and then the weekend, and then you have the final weekend before Christmas. Those are typically the two largest. And then I believe Amazon said that last year, those are the two largest, and then Amazon Prime Day was third. So if it passed Black Friday, I mean, that's massive.
Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined. So basically the 4 days between Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which is the post-Thanksgiving big holiday sales and all that stuff, they said that Prime this year actually surpassed revenues compared to that.
Well, the incredible thing to me is Amazon is so powerful in their influence on the e-commerce space that one, they were smart enough to where they were able to create a Black Friday in July. Like, remember back in the day, Christmas in July?
Christmas in July, exactly.
And so they were able to fully implement that on a massive scale.
Out of nothing. Yeah, they just came up with it.
But then, not only that, it's so influential and they use so much marketing that not just Amazon succeeds, but everyone. So Target, did you see what Target did? They did a 30% off. I think it was site-wide sale. So everything on their website was 30% off.
They had to match all the other retailers.
Well, what they did was Amazon does so much marketing for it and has the marketing dollars for it, and obviously just through word of mouth, that everyone knows Prime Day. But really, they've created almost a second Black Friday in the summer because now individual e-commerce sites we're seeing boosts in sales. Target and Walmart and other major competitors were having big sales themselves without having to actually advertise it like Amazon does. So it went from Prime Day being an Amazon day, and it's still called Prime Day, but really it's like a summer sales extravaganza where it's not just them, it's everyone.
It's online sales day.
Online sales day. And we had clients who saw a boost in sales who had nothing to do with Prime Day. It impacts everybody.
Well,
it's just incredible.
A lot of people start planning and budgeting for it. And what happens is that you go to Amazon and then you may not find what you're looking for. And then you end up going to Target, Walmart, Best Buy, all the other big box retailers. And they have their own sales. And you may actually buy the product that you're looking for somewhere else. So yeah, like you said, the other guys are coming up with matching offers, or they feed off of Amazon's
especially smaller
promotions.
E-commerce companies just basically selling their own products. They would just have a sale, and a lot of people. Amazon is still the biggest winner, obviously, but it trickles down to everybody, and it's kind of incredible Amazon's impact that they created this day that now has just become a summer sales day, and I anticipate it to just keep getting bigger and bigger every year.
And the other thing is that obviously we're here in the U.S. and you hear about Amazon Prime for even 2 weeks before the event and the build up and all that stuff and everywhere. But I can tell you that I was in Spain for the last couple of weeks, and I actually saw the same advertising there. All the newspapers were advertising on Prime. They were saying this is the deals coming up, and I was just reading again the press release, and actually the sale was taking place in 18 different countries. And is again, they say this is and I'm quoting, they say the largest shopping event in Amazon history. That was just the last couple of days. So when you add up all the sales in the U.S., which were basically record-setting, and remember, other countries don't have Black Friday, they don't have Cyber Monday, they don't have Thanksgiving. I mean, they do similar things because they copy the U.S. market, but Black Friday is basically the day after Thanksgiving, which is only a U.S. holiday. Nobody has Thanksgiving outside of the U.S. So when you consider all of that, and traditional European countries are on vacation now in July, they all go to the beach and all that stuff, but they still shop. So you have 18 countries, including the U.S., obviously. It's like a massive worldwide event right now.
The thing that's incredible, too, is the penetration that they have, because with this Prime Day, they surpassed the 50% mark. I talked about this in my Amazon weekly newsletter that goes out on Mondays.
As far as their Prime membership?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can subscribe to that, mgredge.com/join.
That's the plug.
That's the plug. But it's basically just Amazon. If you're an Amazon seller, I would recommend you get it.
I like to read that too.
Anyways, I talked about it in the newsletter, and with this Prime Day, obviously one of the goals of Prime Day is not just to get revenue, but also to get new Prime members. And they passed the 50% mark in the U.S. of American households that are Prime members. So now more than half of Americans have a Prime account. That is incredible.
No, I'm sorry. More than half of Americans, or more than half of the Prime members are Americans?
No. Over 50%. They passed the 50% mark of U.S. households that have a Prime membership.
Wow. So how many millions is that?
Probably 100 something million.
Wow. Okay. So there are more.
That's the penetration.
There are more Prime members in the U.S. than all other countries combined. That's basically
probably
kind of the number.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why Amazon. I've talked about this in my newsletter recently too. That they're very aggressively expanding in other countries and trying to get U.S. sellers, giving different incentives for U.S. sellers to sell in other countries. Because in the U.S., you have about 1.5 million sellers, I think. And in the rest of the world, everything combined, I think there's about 500,000 sellers. So there's triple the amount of sellers in the U.S. than there are the rest of the world combined. So they're trying to grow that a lot. Okay. And one of the big things is that they don't have all of the benefits, like here we're going to have 1 day free shipping. They don't have that in the rest of the world. So they're they just started their Prime Air, which is their they have 80 something jumbo jets that they use to ship. They set up a little base in Anchorage, Alaska, which, for those who don't know, Anchorage, Alaska is the midpoint for a ton of shipment and sellers to China. And so they're very much trying to penetrate into China and expand. But right now, their penetration in the U.S. is incredibly deep. More than half of all e-commerce dollars go to Amazon in the U.S. Right. So it's pretty incredible what they've done.
All right. So let me ask you, as far as numbers, and this is kind of like a little quiz. Amazon released some.
I have not looked at any of these numbers. Just so people know.
But yeah, right. I know that. So they are very, very round off numbers. But how many laptops do you think they sold?
I have no idea.
I know you bought one, didn't you?
I did buy one.
You actually did buy something on Amazon Prime.
Yes, that was the only thing I bought.
Were you testing the system, or you just needed to buy a laptop?
No, I've been wanting a new one for probably 6 months or so. But it's a typical thing. The biggest thing that prevents me is just I don't like to transfer all my stuff from one computer to another. But mine it's a few years old, so it's been slowing down. So I've been wanting a new one, and there was one that was a ridiculous sale, and I say, okay.
It works. Amazon Prime works.
It works.
Good. So you bought a laptop, but there's also 99,999 people that also bought a laptop for a total of about 100,000. So you contributed to the 100,000 laptops that they sold on Amazon Prime, according to early estimates. They also sold about 200,000 televisions, 300,000 headphones, which apparently, obviously, you need to hear to your podcast and all that stuff. So those are a big demand. 350,000 luxury beauty products, and more than 1 million toys. Hello, Toys R Us. See what you're missing?
Well, Toys R Us, if you remember, actually outsourced their online to Amazon. Yeah, and that's what killed them.
Yeah, exactly. That was the beginning of their end. And so now Amazon is selling 1 million toys in 2 days. That's more than Christmas, I think. I don't know how many toys they sell at Christmas time. But
that's a lot of toys.
That's a lot of freaking toys. I actually, I have to admit, I also did buy something on Amazon Prime Day, which was another Kindle. I have my own Kindle that I'm very happy with, and really didn't need it. So that's one of the things that you buy that you don't really need, but it was better. And the thing that made me buy it actually was the new one. I think it's called the 10th generation. I didn't know it has so many, but I think it's the 10th generation Kindle, which for me is the third one I have. was actually water resistant or splash resistant or something. So summertime, I'd spend a lot of time on, some time at the beach, a lot of time at the pool, and I like to read by the pool and not always outside of the pool. So anyways, this one is supposedly, I haven't tested it yet, but it just got here yesterday, but supposedly it's waterproof or resistant or whatever it is. And I'm going to test it. I'm going to take it to the pool and be there. And if it gets a little wet, hopefully it'll be fine. But I'm going to read a little bit. So anyways, I bought a Kindle. And then, of course, I had to buy the Kindle case or whatever, because this one is about 1 millimeter smaller than the other one. So the case that I have for the other one doesn't fit this one, or actually it's too loose. So I had to buy a case too.
Well, the other thing that Amazon does on Prime Day is they pretty much discount all of their Amazon devices.
Yeah.
Because if I went and it was on the home page, the first thing you see is Amazon device deals. Because obviously their goal too is not just to sell other people's products, but they want to get that's another thing that they have a lot of penetration on, as far as the percentage of people that own Alexa devices. Oh, I just triggered our office Alexa.
Yeah, I have one here, the Echo Dot.
I was trying not to trigger it, but I had to say. I'm sure someone listening out there, theirs just got triggered too.
Alexa, how are you?
Okay. I don't think the mics picked that up. But anyways, yeah, they want you to buy those devices. And I think more than a third of U.S. households also now own an Alexa device, which is pretty impressive.
It is. That was actually one of the most sold items, which takes me to the next quick note. The top selling item in the U.S.
Let me guess. In the U.S.?
In the U.S. I don't think you're going to guess it. I didn't even know this item at all.
Is it an Amazon device or is it?
No, it's not an Amazon device.
The Instant Pot.
That's the second one.
Okay.
What is that anyways?
I have one. I
You
bought
have
it.
one?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
really?
just a thing that you basically, it's the easiest way to cook. You can throw anything in there, steam it.
Oh, that's what you have?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the number 2.
Yeah,
The
I heard a
first
lot
one-
of people talk about it, and they had a good sale. So I knew that one would
See,
be a
I don't
top
cook,
seller.
so I couldn't even think about it.
Well, that's the beauty. I don't like cooking, and it makes it so
If it's not a microwave,
you just,
I don't know.
You
I don't
just
use
throw
it.
your crap in the thing and turn it on, and you're done. There's not much work.
Yeah, it's too much work for me. It's better to use the microwave, 30 seconds, done. Anyways, no, the number 1 was the Life Straw personal water filter.
Really? That's funny.
It
Because I had a
is.
call yesterday with a client where they mentioned to me that they really like the Life Straw branding.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I
don't even
didn't
know
know-
what that is.
I
Is
didn't
it like
know
a
that they
straw
were the
that you
number
use?
one.
It has a filter, so you can drink water with the straw and it filters the water for you? Is that what I'm...
Yeah. It's like they have a famous video that went viral a couple of years ago that it was basically someone went to like this mud puddle, put the straw straight in there and drank the water out of it. And it was like perfectly clear water.
Wow.
And they have this big brand because I was talking to a client. I don't know how much I can say, but basically, they do charitable donations for every item that people buy from them. And they were they gave me the example of Life Straw. They said we really like their branding because Life Straw basically for every time you buy a straw, they also have like water bottles with the straw built in. And every time you buy from them, they donate to people who don't have clean water in Africa or wherever else.
Right.
And we were discussing their branding, and so that's fun. I didn't realize that they were such a big seller. I mean, I
They
knew they
were.
were a big seller. I didn't realize they would be number
That
one.
was the top selling product in the US. The second one is the Instant Pot. And the third one was 23andMe Health and Ancestry Kits. Apparently, a lot of people are trying to figure out where they came from and all that stuff. And I just think we came from Neanderthals or, some kind of old ancestors in Africa.
I'm
or something.
skeptical about that. I don't like the idea of a company that.
Yeah.
I believe they did get hacked at one point a couple of years ago. So I don't know. I think the DNA testing is cool, but I haven't done it myself yet because I don't trust the data being out
overall,
there.
I'm more interested in where I'm going than where it came from. So, anyways,
Well, I like it more for the medical benefits
yeah,
than
obviously.
the ancestral
But I don't think they can do
benefits.
that. I think there was a new law or something that
There's
prevented them
companies
from...
that can do it, but it's because I know there was a company that was a little different. It's called Ubiome that was checking people's guts, but then they got in trouble with something.
I think there was...
It's kind of a gray area, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on it, though, but...
I think I read somewhere that they banned them from predicting diseases and things like that. They can just tell you basic background, but not get into medical issues or
Really?
something.
I thought that was one of the big things with genetic
It
testing.
was, but I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think I read
I think
something.
there will be many more companies for genetic. I mean, it's the future. Genetics is a major thing. But anyways, I'm not an expert on that, so I don't know too much about it.
All right, well, that's good. I think we should probably wrap it up. Again, interesting thing. We discussed all kinds of weird stuff today.
Reminder: be sure to listen to that interview I did.
Yeah,
on
I was
the
gonna
Edge.
remind people.
It was really interesting. I really it's funny because I just interviewed him about the company. At first, that's what I was going to do, but then once I found out all of his family history, it was an interesting interview. He was a very smart guy too.
On the app, probably. Is
oh
very
yeah, I mean
too.
we talked a lot about the app too.
Yeah, I think people should try to download it and see if it works. I mean, I will definitely.
He's a sharp
get
guy.
out tickets and all that stuff.
It was good. So.
Good deal. All right. Well, thanks, David. Everything will be that we talk about here will be on our show notes, and this should be edited hopefully this evening on Thursday. By Friday or so, it should be live. And that's it for today. We'll see you guys next time, hopefully next week on another episode of MGR Unplugged. Until then, have a great weekend and rest of the week, wherever you are. Thank you. Bye-bye.